Hi, in my last video, which was actually in April, I talked about the second of the superpowers. And now here I am, it's nearly the end of May, and I'm now working from my home office on Scotland Island. And in this particular video, I'd like to talk about the remainder, I think, the remainder of the 6 superpowers, of which I determine as, first of all, your intuition, your imagination, your intuition. It doesn't matter really which way around you identify them. And then your reason, your reasoning faculty, your actual intellect itself, which means your knowledge and what you've actually learned, and your will. And last of all, and the most important of all, is your perception. So I'd quickly like to just run through these remaining 4 of the superpowers. Now, these superpowers, nobody actually tells you how to identify them within yourself and when you're actually working with which one. But for me, of all of them, the will is something that we identify when we're actually trying to set goals and achieve things. However, in a psychic perspective, the will actually is identified in quite a different way. Will means staying focused, not pushing and pulling and making things happen, but staying focused and seeing one picture at a time with your imagination and holding the image of that picture. So, how do we do this? We do this when we want something really badly. So think about the days when you've decided, for example, that you want to buy a new lounge suite or you want to buy a new dress. Maybe it's a black dress for a particular occasion. And in your mind, you've already got the idea of the lounge suite and what you think it might look like. Or you've got the idea of the black dress in your mind's eye, which is on the screen of your mind in your imagination. So what we do is we hold that picture and image in our mind, and we go looking and looking and looking and looking until we find the very item that actually fits what we need it for, whether it be for the new lounge or for a little black dress for a special dinner date. And we go looking and looking and looking until we find it. But we've already got a strong image of what it is we're looking for within our mind, and we hold it there with our willpower, using our imagination to see it. Because we see everything in pictures first, and then we translate the picture into words, expressions, and understandings. So that's how we use our will from the perspective of the superpowers. And you can use this to actually bring into life things that you want. So when you're looking for a new job, you can actually feel your way through to what it is you want and really hold tight to that actual aspect of the job that suits your need. And that is using your willpower from the superpowers point of view. And your reasoning is, as it says, the reason for doing something. And this is a superpower as well. And this is the 4th one, and the one that you use your intellect with. So reason and intellect go hand in hand, because you actually start to think about what it is you want to do, and you actually identify the reasons why. And as you identify the reasons why, it gets more solid within you. So if you've had some conflict with somebody and you actually are trying to understand the reason why, you'll go inside your body into the internal world where you live and feel what it all felt like to identify what was the reason why. So when you're having in a relationship and maybe the relationship's broken down and you are separating, or you're not heard from the person you're in a relationship with, you would actually try to understand the reason. And the reason has to fit with what your intellectual capacity is. So what you know, what you understand, and what you've experienced is all put together in the form of your intellect. So reason and intellect go hand in hand. But for me, the one superpower that actually, to me, relatively, I suppose, when you're talking to people on a general statement point of view, the one superpower that makes us all different is perception. And perception is a really, really important superpower to understand, because perception identifies how you think, and you think by the experiences that you have around you. So your perception of a situation and my perception of a situation is different depending on your circumstances, your environment, and your set of values. What I mean by that is what you value in life as important, and what you value in life is you cannot possibly live without or not actually function through. So perception is the only of this one of the superpowers that actually makes us different. All the others we use every single day, every single minute of every single day, in one form or another, in different spheres of our intellectual processing. But perception makes us all different, because everybody has their own individual experience of life. Therefore, everybody sees things differently. And sometimes you meet people, don't you, in life that have got sparkly personalities, and they're just born like that. And they see everything as light and bright and easy and not difficult. And then you have other personalities that have had a challenging life, so they don't see everything as light and happy and bright. They might see life as a struggle or dark or difficult. And it's not necessarily real or true, in that their circumstances around them are not, perhaps at the time you're looking at their environment and what's happening, are perhaps not dull and boring and dark and awful, but their perception is clouded by the things that have happened to them. So their perception of life definitely depends on a number of factors. So looking at the superpowers as a total concept, we have imagination, we have intuition. Imagination, we all have an imagination, because we all see pictures first and then we translate it into information, actual identifying what it is we're trying to say or communicate. And then the intuition is that part of us that's trying to guide us through life, sometimes to do the right thing, sometimes to do the wrong thing. But the wrong thing is generally not an intellectual, rational thought. It's usually something that you're doing that actually creates difficulties later on. So your intuition is your voice, the small voice inside your head that's talking to you about situations around you that are about to unfold around you. And then you've got reason and will and intellect and, last of all, perception. So just have a little work with each one of these and just try and identify when you're actually functioning in which particular application of one of the 6 superpowers. I know it might sound a little bit complicated the way I've delivered it, but it really is interesting to watch and listen to your own voice and the self-talk in your head, because the self-talk in your head is determining how you live your life. So what you hear yourself say in your brain to yourself, the voice that you listen to every single day is with you for a long, long time. So get used to it and actually identify, what is it I'm thinking about and can I change it? And look at the perception and how you're seeing things and say, can I change this perception? Is there another way to look at this scenario that I'm in at the moment? I hope that's helped you understand my schemology, or my concept of the 6 superpowers. Because the superpowers are there, but people, when we are at school or when we're in any sort of learning capacity, unless you're doing something in psychology, is never really approached or understood. I hope that's helped a little bit. Thanks for listening, Pam.